Hello, buddies and friends. Happy Monday, and welcome to another episode of myView on Books. This is episode number 26. You're watching Medley with MaddiE, and I am Maddie Dawson. So, in today's episode, I'm going to talk about The Boy in the Striped Pyjamas. It's there on top of me. Okay. Yeah, this is a very good book. Let me just check my audio. Yes, audio is good. Okay, so this title, I heard about this title for years, maybe 2 years. It was, in front of my eyes in Amazon or in some places. Go to a bookstore, right? I can see these titles, but only recently I got to read this book, and it was amazing. And I think it is both it's a book for both children as well as adults, because it has this underlying what do you say mystery that will be known only to the adults what exactly the story is about. But if you read on the top layer, it will feel like a refreshing novel, kid novel, because the whole story is about a kid. So it's about Bruno. Bruno is the boy's name, and he has a sister named Gretel, elder sister, and he has father, mother. So they live in Berlin during the World War II, and his father is in the Nazi army. So he's basically a military officer, and they live in a very spacious mansion, and his grandfather and grandmother is like few blocks away. So he enjoys this life in the mansion, living in the city. He can go out to the streets, and there's market, and he enjoys his friendship with three other friends. I think Martin, one of them is Martin, I forgot the other two names. So he enjoys his life, discovering places in his home. So there are certain places in his own home that he can't go. It's not allowed because his father has put a rule, and they must obey that. So he enjoys these kind of little things that is in his life, and he's basically happy about his life in Berlin. But then suddenly, in the very first chapter itself, we come to know that he has to be moved because his father has got a new job in a place somewhere else, and they have to move out of this Berlin mansion. And it's a very hi Vaishnav Shviganesh, good evening. And it's very sad for him because he loved this part of the life, living in Berlin, in a city, and then moving out of it. He feels very sad, and he's really not happy, but there is no other choice. Even his mother is not happy, but still they all move to this new place. And there the house is a little smaller compared to the Berlin home, and everything basically, since he loves Berlin more, he hates everything in this new place. And if you look, he has his sister's room is just nearby, and he kinds of wanders around exploring the place, and he discovers that in front of the home there is a place, and every a lot of people are just in that place wearing a uniform, and that uniform is striped pajamas basically, and a hat. So the hat is also striped. So everybody, boys mostly, so he sees only men and boys, and he's like, it's mysterious to him, who are they, why are they wearing particular uniform. Everybody is wearing the same uniform. And so that is one mystery, but he's not worried about that. He was initially surprised to look at that part of the side from his home, but then his sadness more that he has left Berlin, and he's trying to settle down in this place, which is now the only thing he can do. And he tries to set up a tire for swinging, and it's becoming he did it successfully, but he falls down and he breaks his arm. Not breaks, I mean, almost injures it. And then he comes to know certain things about his maid and cook, but those are all like secrets, so he has to keep it within himself. And then one fine day he goes out exploring the place. So he goes out far away, like walking along the place, and he discovers this fence. So basically the fence is what is separating from the other group of people who are wearing this uniform and his home. So he goes out far away, and he kind of finds one boy on the other side. So he's also wearing a small striped pajamas and shirt and hat, and he talks with him. So they make a friendship, and they basically tell about each other's life, and he gets to know, like, he's a boy, right? So he gets to know that that place is like having a lot of restrictions, and they don't have a lot of provisions that he is having. So Bruno is this side's basically the German boy, and Smuel, I think, Chmu, Smuel, it's difficult to pronounce. So yeah, so he is from Poland, but he was forced, along with his father, he was forced to come to this place, and there is no other option now but to stay here, and they have to wear this pajamas, striped pajamas always, and a lot of restrictions, like they have to do labor. And so this is a place that he found, that he escapes and comes to. So there are a lot of soldiers guarding the place, and it's very difficult, they kind of beat up the people. So he tells everything, and it's basically, that's when I realized that it's the concentration camps that were built by the Nazi army, right? So whoever they capture in the war, like a lot of people were forced into this concentration camps, and they were, not even given basic amenities to survive. So that's when I realized, actually. Until then, I didn't realize it. So I was reading as a novel, from a boy's point of perspective. So this is the story, actually. So the friendship between a German boy and a Poland boy in the concentration camp, and how their two lives vary when you compare with both the sides, and the interaction between them. What happens next? So is something dramatic going to happen, or what happens to the other boy Skmuel, or what happens to Bruno, is the rest of the story. I think it's amazing, and the narration is mostly uh yes, Vaishnav Sri Ganesh. Bro, I heard this story in my 11th or 12th standard of my English subject. I was able to recollect. Yeah, I think it is very old and famous, internationally popular, and it. I have also heard this title for a lot of instances, but only recently I got to read it. So yes, actually, I think maybe for the educational purpose in school, they might have given a different version, but I should read the book original version, I think. Yeah, so the narration is third person perspective, mostly on Bruno's mind. So what is Bruno doing? What is Bruno thinking? How does a 11 or 10 year, I think he's, so how does a, I think 9 year old, yes, 9 year old boy thinks? How does he name people? What kind of thoughts goes when he sees basically a concentration camp? So it's difficult. Only after 5 6 chapters, when they describe what's happening in the other side, you realize that it's a concentration camp, and his father is actually a Nazi army soldier, and it's the World War II time. And yeah, so those things you discover. So it was, I didn't had any idea about the book before I started reading, so that could be one reason why I was not aware. But yeah, this is the underneath layer that you need to dig deep into understand. But if you are a kid, basically below 10 years or like 15 years old, I think you'll enjoy the story. Reading it from a boy's point of perspective. And yeah, the climax may be kind of weird, but it's fiction. Basically, it's fiction, and it's a very good fiction novel, and you'll definitely love it. There are certain statements that he says about certain things and people, which is very amusing and funny. But as the story progresses, it becomes more emotional, and when the reality hits you that it's actually a concentration camp, that's where the other boy Skmil from Poland is living, you feel very sad. And how the lives, when you compare Bruno's life and Skmil's life, you kind of feel sad that one boy gets to live in this kind of condition. Other boy gets to live in a very what do you say, luxurious state. So yeah, you think about humanity and you think about philosophy. You kind of go into a spiritual mode. So it's a philosophical book as well, in a way. So as I said, it's as different layers. So it's up to you. If you're not going to peel the layers off, you're going to enjoy this book as a very good child novel reading about a kid. And if you're gonna peel the layer, then you're gonna find out that there's a sad version to it, and the philosophy, you kind of get your questions and you try to find answers for it. So you basically try to learn history. What is concentration camp, and what did Nazi do? So such things and all. If you're not aware, you would like certainly look up after this reading this book. And yes, it's a very good novel. I think it has all the factors of, what do you say, gripping a storyline. So every chapter ends with a note where you can't just give a break and go off. So you have to turn the page and keep reading. So I finished this book in, I think, maybe 10 days, which is very quick for me. I usually, how many pages? I think around 200 pages. Yes, the book length is 223 pages, so it's almost like I used to take 1 month to read a book of length 220, but I finished in 10 days because it was interesting. I was reading more than one chapter per day, and it was really amazing. So yeah, let's see my blog. I've written a blog. I caught up writing recently, so I read the paperback version, vintage 223 pages. I have the book also. I can show you. See, this is my book. So my one word review is engrossing, and in Goodreads, I think it's 415. It might change because more and more people read. And I can see the lines, impressive lines that I wrote from the book. So yes, these kind of amusing statements from the initial chapters of the book will be really funny. Those children look like they've never had a bath in their lives. So he's describing about kids from the other side. Basically, they live in a state with not even basic amenities, right? So they don't get to bath daily, and that's what he thinks is those children look like they never had a bath in their lives. So he feels like that. And yes, this is one of my favorite line. Bruno's eyes opened wide, and his mouth made the shape of an O. So when you are shocked as a kid, what you do basically? So you do such expressions, right? And the author has put it out in an exact statement, like a kid thinks. His eyes opened wide and his mouth made the shape of no. So whenever Bruno gets shocked, he does this, and the author describes it in this statement. So it's very funny. We don't have the luxury of thinking. Some people make all the decision for us. So this is one of the I think it's true in certain instances in life. So the wife, the mother of Bruno, feels, so she's not okay with moving from Berlin, but the father, the husband, has made the decision. So when Bruno is having conversation, she tells that we don't have the luxury of thinking. Some people make all the decision for us. And yeah, so verdict, I really loved because I was thinking as Bruno the whole duration, and I read the book. So it's like transform into a boy. That's my verdict. So if you are reading this book, you're going to be a kid. And because basically it's like inside the mind of Bruno, a 9-year-old kid. And it's a very good read. It's available in Amazon, and almost if you go to any bookstore, you would definitely find this book because it's highly popular. And it's, if you see, 17,000 ratings in Amazon itself. So you can get it in any bookstore near your place, or you can order it on Amazon if you have. And yes, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Vaishnav Shivaganesh, thank you so much. Yes, if you haven't, I think you would have, if it was in your curriculum, you would have heard a basic version of the story between basically a friendship between two different kids from different nations. But you should also read this book if you have a chance. So it's a good book. It's basically for kids as well as adults. Enjoy reading. You would also enjoy reading. Yes, thank you, viewers. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I have read a lot of books in the gap that we got. 3-4 weeks we haven't been doing my view on books episodes. So I read a lot of books during that timeline, and this is one of the books. And definitely in the upcoming weeks, I will give you overview and summary of a lot of books that I read that are interesting. So I've read recently Ruskin Bond's Roads to Missouri. This was also very interesting. And another book, short book, Don't Run My Love. So yes, these are all coming soon. Okay, we will continue the schedule tomorrow. I think you guys have voted for what is that? Black Flag. Not Black Flag. Call of Duty. Black something, I forgot. So I'm not sure. It doesn't have a story campaign, so I'll do one episode of that Call of Duty, but I will switch to Spider-Man or the other game from next week. And yes, Wednesday we'll look into a movie. Thursday again, I think the Plague Tale Innocence is coming to an end, so we'll try to finish it off. And you guys are voting for horror movie, so this week the movie will release on Saturday instead of Friday, because October 1st is when we are launching Project Hail Sam. So to inaugurate that, we'll release the movie on Saturday. So it's a very packed schedule this week, so stay tuned. And every day there's going to be some activity in the community tab, so look out for that. And thank you so much for the love and support. We are going good, beyond 500 subscribers. Yes, I heard when you say Bruno name, I remember my curriculum. Yeah, so Bruno, after reading this book, Bruno is a name that will be in your mind forever. So you'll not forget. So Vaishnav Shivaganesh has remembered it now. So I will also remember Bruno, and in my movies, Bruno is going to be one of the favorite names that I'm going to keep it for some of the characters. So as I said, you after reading this book, you will basically have take some time to come out of the kids' thought process, and so it's going to be a good read. Bruno is one catchy name for the character, and I loved it. Bruno's character. Yes. All right. See you until the next episode. You're watching Medley with MaddiE. I'm MaddiE Dawson. Bye bye.